used the same defense a second time. Didn't work the first time, and didn't work the second time. I think I've been kicked around enough at this point, honestly, so just looking to move on with my life, and I think the physical evidence has spoken. 2 separate juries have spoken. I still can't help but feel a little bad for my mom, but as I said the last time, it's pretty much the only family that's left.
Today's case contains many elements that make it a head-scratching roller coaster story. It has romance, scandal, resentment, ambiguous physical evidence, and the undeniable fact that at least one of the main figures must be lying for any of it to make sense. Let's take a look. Admiral's Cove is an affluent neighborhood in Jupiter, Florida. The waterfront promenade offers stunning views of multi-million-dollar homes and luxury residences. At around 7 a.m. on September 30th, 2011, Luis Garcia, a security officer, was dispatched to the Horwitz house after the alarm went off. It appeared that the glass break sensors had been triggered. He arrived just 3 minutes later. When he knocked, the door was answered by their 38-year-old son, Radley. He looked dazed, as if he had only just woken up. Inside the house, his mother, Donna, was distraught and screaming, "I think he's dead." Moving further into the home, past the master bedroom, Luis found 66-year-old Lanny Horwitz collapsed on the bathroom floor in a scene soaked in blood. The shower door glass had shattered behind him, and shards lay scattered everywhere. Lanny was bleeding from his head. A gun was clutched in his hand. Police and EMTs rushed to the scene, but by the time they arrived, it was too late. Lanny was pronounced dead there.
Now, in retrospect, it could be something else, but I'm thinking you look like shell-shocked, awake, like you just crawled out of bed, literally just crawled out of bed. So he's not in pajamas, but he's in clothes, and he looks groggy or dazed as if he just got out of bed.
Okay.
So I said to him, "What's going on? We're here for an alarm." He goes, "I don't know." And he said, "My mom is screaming." I said, "Okay, why is your mom screaming?" He goes, "I don't know." I said, "Is there anybody else in the house?" "Who is in the house?" "Just you two?" He goes, "My father." And I said, "Are there any weapons or guns inside the house? Does he have a gun?" He said, "Yes, I think he has a gun." And I see her upset, hysterical, sobbing. And I come to her quickly. I look around, and I tell him to stay right there. And I say, "What's going on?" She said, "I think he's dead."
What sort of interaction or reaction or actions do you see from mom and from the son?
Mom is very emotional. She's extremely upset, almost can't speak. The son, again, I thought was dazed, shocked, not showing a whole lot of emotion, like, I don't know, maybe sleepy, drugged, I don't know, whatever. Now, obviously, things are pointing in a different direction. But I clearly remember that mom was very emotional, son was not. Nothing about them made me think that they were involved. I saw no blood on them, otherwise it would have been a little different.
No injuries, nothing?
No injuries. I didn't see any blood, any injuries, nothing. Mom was pretty upset. Son appeared as if he had just woken up. And then
Luis told police that after he entered the bathroom, he secured the gun by removing it from Lanny's hand. Then he began to provide medical aid. His initial assumption was that the wounds were self-inflicted. Because the gun had been found in Lanny's hand, responding officers and even detectives initially believed it might be a suicide. But that assumption quickly fell apart when they discovered that Lanny hadn't been shot just once, but 9 times. There were no signs of forced entry into the home. That left only 2 potential suspects: Donna Horwitz and the couple's son, Radley Horwitz. At the scene, Donna refused to speak with law enforcement. She appeared to be in a state of shock. Radley, however, spoke freely. He told detectives that he had woken up to the sound of gunfire, although he wasn't sure whether he was jolted awake by the shots themselves or by the security alarm. From the doorway of his bedroom, he said he saw his mother screaming and pacing.
It was like pop, pop, and the alarm was going off.
and I heard screaming, and I was afraid to come out of my room. I know that sounds awful, but I was fucking scared.
Okay.
And my mom was screaming, and she was in the living room. I could see my dad through the doorway. At least I assume it was him. Nobody else would have been in the house. And obviously now it is. I saw someone on the floor.
Okay.
And blood. I don't know. I heard a couple of pops, but I don't know how many there were.
Okay.
But it was loud.
What was your mom's demeanor? How was she?
She was screaming and screaming my name, and she was like going around in the living room with her arms up.
Was she saying anything? What happened, or what's going on, or anything?
No.
Do you think that your mom is capable of shooting your dad?
No. She's got her dogs, and she's got us.
There were no arrests made at the scene. It took investigators some time to sort through all the evidence inside the home. As they entered the lavish mansion, the first thing they noticed was how clean everything appeared. The only visible indication that a violent murder had taken place deeper inside was a small smear of blood on the gate railing just past the front door. Approaching the master bedroom and bathroom, investigators found a gun on the floor outside. The same firearm Lewis had removed from Lanny's hand. Another gun was found in a holster on the bedroom dresser. Bullet fragments from both weapons were later recovered in the bathroom. 2 guns had been fired at Lanny as he stepped out of the shower. These were far from the only firearms in the home. Not even close. Both Lanny and his son Radley were known to have a strong interest in guns. Police found 24 additional firearms, ranging from handguns to rifles, along with large amounts of ammunition and various accessories. Inside a suitcase labeled with Radley's name, investigators found ammunition that matched the type fired from the 2 guns used to kill his father. At the station, Donna was served with a warrant so her DNA could be collected for analysis. But when the results came back, they raised more questions than answers. The gun found on the floor near the bathroom contained a mixture of Lanny's DNA and a second, unidentified profile. Radley and the security guard were excluded as that second source, but Donna was not. The gun found on the dresser also contained DNA from 2 people, though those results were inconclusive. Most curious of all was the bloody fingerprint smear discovered near the entrance of the house, far from the bathroom where the shooting occurred. It contained a mixture of 2 DNA profiles. One belonged to Lanny Horwitz. The other belonged to an unidentified person. Investigators trying to understand the family dynamics began reaching out to people who knew the Horwitz household. One of the first they interviewed was Mary Garbo, Radley's ex-partner and the mother of his daughter. Mary had once been close to Donna as well, though their relationship deteriorated in the years following her breakup with Radley. Mary explained that until a few years earlier, Radley had operated a business called Jupiter Arms, where he sold guns and accessories. He eventually had his firearms dealer license revoked after a run-in with law enforcement. Radley came under ATF scrutiny after purchasing an illegal firearm component online, a part capable of converting a Glock pistol into a fully automatic weapon. According to Mary, Lanny had actually encouraged his son to buy the part. That decision would turn out to be life-changing.
And the guy let him hang up his certificate on his wall at his business.
What certificate?
Stating that he had a FFL.
Mm-hmm.
And then his business basically was he'd go to the bars at night where he hung out anyway, and he would try to drum up business.
Selling guns?
Yeah.
What's with all the guns in the house?
His father was just as paranoid about having guns as Radley became. Rad was more obsessive about it than his father was, though.
Radley was convicted of a felony after he agreed to sell a gun to an undercover ATF officer who presented improper paperwork. This led to a 5-month prison sentence. Radley later claimed that he had been entrapped, insisting that the only reason he had been targeted was because of the prior illegal firearm purchase. A purchase, he said, was prompted by his father. Because of this, he blamed Lanny for the conviction. It didn't help that when federal agents arrived to arrest him, Radley remembered his father laughing.
Do you know where the guns are kept in the house?
The guns used to be kept in every drawer, closet, and underneath beds and bathrooms, and they used to be everywhere once upon a time. But after Rad got in trouble, I was told all the guns were sold, there were no more guns, and because he was in trouble and on probation, he wasn't allowed to be near weapons, so I was told everything was gone. That's what I was told.
After his conviction, Radley struggled to find work and moved back into the family home to work for his father. Tension in the house had been building ever since Donna returned 6 months before the murder. Lanny and Donna Horwitz first married in 1967 after meeting as teenagers. Their only son, Radley, was born 6 years later. In 1990, they moved to a gated community in Jupiter, where Lanny built their home. Although trained as a real estate attorney, he never practiced law. Instead, early hotel investments earned him millions and an early retirement at 39. In the years before his death, Lanny's finances declined. He was pursuing a risky resort project in Italy and running a small supplement business to stay afloat. His personal life was equally unstable. After Donna's affair, they divorced in 2001, only to remarry months later. Then separate again the following spring. Donna struggled for years with mental health issues, including multiple suicide attempts. And by 2011, she hoped for another reconciliation. Lanny eventually invited her back to the Admiral's Cove home. Radley, newly released from prison and unable to find work, moved in as well. They were a family again, at least on the surface. The night before the murder, Radley went to dinner with his father and his young daughter. Over fries and hamburgers, Lanny made 2 significant and contradictory statements. First, he said that despite the divorce, he had always imagined growing old with Donna, his high school sweetheart and the mother of his son. Second, he mentioned that the next day he planned to leave for North Carolina with his business partner, Francine Tai, who many believed was his longtime mistress. Fran lived just 10 houses down from the Horwitz home in Admiral's Cove. For nearly 5 years, she and Lanny had worked closely together and formed a strong bond. Their affection was obvious. They held hands in public, hugged often, and openly kissed. They spent much of their time together, and when separated, they exchanged text messages throughout the day and night. Investigators were eager to speak with Fran. By the time they arrived at her home, she had already heard about Lanny's death, though detectives did not share any details with her.
He lived his life through my friends, an amazing amount of friends, and dinner parties, and my businesses, and traveling. We went to Europe. The best. You always want a Lanny. Everybody wants to meet a Lanny. This should never, ever happened. Could they bring him back to life? Is there? And they'll see if he really is dead. He is dead.
Fran was first questioned about her relationship with Lanny. She repeatedly insisted that their relationship had never been physical, but she admitted that it was still a kind of romance in its own way.
If you don't mind my asking, yes, it's a personal question.
Yes.
Are you?
Physical never.
Okay. So you're best friends?
Beyond best friends.
Okay.
It's just a guy.
Okay.
A guy with a best friend, just like you have a
Business
girlfriend.
partner with
and
her
my
as well.
business partner, my guy. I had so many of my businesses.
Not his lack of trying. He wanted to be with you.
He did. I mean, who else comes to the airport with a dozen red roses to say I missed you away with a kiss on the cheek?
Right.
Next, Fran was asked about Lanny's relationship with Radley. A friend who had accompanied her to the interview encouraged her to be honest and not hold anything back.
Other than that, has he had any issues with Rad or?
To my knowledge, again, Lanny's a private person.
Tell him what you know, sweetie.
Lanny's
not here.
Let me just tell you. Did he shoot Lanny?
We don't know. That's what we're trying to find out.
There was a struggle, though.
We don't know.
Can I tell you what I see? Oh, I better not. I see the whole thing. I see the whole thing.
You can tell us. Sure.
No, I'd rather not.
Okay.
I'd rather not.
All right. No real issues that you know with Rad, except that he's just not.
Trust fund baby.
Yeah. No jobs or anything like that.
Had a couple.
Okay.
Didn't keep them.
Right.
On unemployment.
All right. And then he's been living with his dad as long as you've known him?
As long as I've known him.
Okay.
Finally, Fran was asked about Donna. If she and Lanny had been so happy together, why had he allowed his ex-wife to move back into the house?
Did a deal with him, and he wouldn't tell me what the deal was.
She
the ex-wife. The ex-wife.
Okay. And
Donna.
Okay. When you say deal, what do you mean?
I don't know.
Okay.
So he went to Asheville.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he came back from that trip, he said that Donna was moving back into the house. They were not remarrying, that she wanted to make it work. I said, all right, hasn't she done this to you 4 times past? He goes, yep.
The deal Fran was likely referring to involved a financial arrangement Lanny had proposed to Donna 6 months earlier. They would reconcile, but only if she lent him $200,000. Lanny said he needed the money to keep their 2 homes afloat. Donna agreed, hopeful that they could make the relationship work again. But at that time, did she know about Lanny's special relationship with Francine and what that might mean for their reconciliation?
Did his ex-wife know that he loved you?
Wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you think? And wouldn't you think she saw the text? And wouldn't you think she saw the pictures?
Mm-hmm.
He was sitting on my birthday blowing out candles at 3 Forks. My birthday cake.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you think?
Well, we were told that you and he had a relationship.
By her?
By the son.
No, I never had any intimacy with
He said you were his girlfriend.
Oh, that's not funny. I was not his girlfriend. I was his business partner, business associate, best friend, or as he puts in text, my best friend, pal, my buddy.
Okay.
Would that be a girlfriend? Did I ever have sex with the man? Never.
Okay.
Did I kiss him? Of course I did. Do I kiss my girlfriends? Absolutely.
Right. Did his family think that you guys were having an affair? Obviously they did.
Oh, I don't know that.
Okay.
Even if Fran didn't know exactly how Donna and Bradley felt about her, she was aware that tensions inside the Horwitz home had been escalating and could turn dangerous. She told detectives that Lanny had made eerily prophetic comments shortly before he died, as if he sensed a violent end coming. Francine also said she had a vision of what happened to him. She had dreamt about the guns.
He said to me, if anything happens to me, promise me that you will fight to the end to see that I get justice. When he told me that, it's always been on my mind. And I said, well, you moved into the house. She never cooked a meal for you, Lanny, in all the years you were married. And she's cooking you meals every night. I don't understand it. I'd be afraid what's going into the food. He laughed. He says, no, she's trying to show me she got domestic. 35 years she couldn't show you that?
Mm-hmm.
And the dream with the guns. You don't understand. I see things. I know. I'm sorry. It sounds crazy.
What do you see happening? What do you see happen?
He was getting out of the shower. His cell phone was here. The gun was somewhere very close to him because he always brings it with him. He was coming out of the shower. She saw the suitcase being packed because I don't know if he told her he was going to Asheville. This is what I see. This is the scene. She says, you go, I'm going to kill you. That's what I see. And he's saying, stop it, Donna. I know him because he's gentle. He took the gun and it killed him.
Lanny wasn't found with his cell phone, though he had knocked a landline off the wall during the attack. Crime scene analysts believed he may have been reaching for it to call for help. In the days after the murder, Radley Horwitz voluntarily met with police alongside his attorney. He said his father's suitcases were already packed for his upcoming trip with Francine, and he assumed Donna had noticed them too. Radley explained that since Donna moved back in, her physical and mental health had declined dramatically. She'd lost weight, her hair had become brittle, and her energy had faded. He described Lanny as a difficult man who was emotionally and psychologically manipulative.
My dad said that he wanted to, work things out with my mom and stuff. And with the initial divorce, I thought, she was the worst person in the world. But then once I was living at home and I was under his thumb, I realized that he was, I guess, when you're younger and stuff, whatever. But that he, wasn't the nicest person, And she said to me that he used to, tell her that he'd put her out on the street, and I never believed it. That he'd, after the grandmother died, Anita, that because of all the legal stuff that he'd had her sign since the divorce in 2001, that he'd have her out on the street. And she always said that, she thought she was kind of as a bag lady, and I'm like, not that I can,
So you're saying you believe that he brought her back into the home just to
get that
be
money,
able to mess with her about,
to get the money, to torment her, and I'll use that word again. And again, a black eye is one thing, which I never saw, but those heal and go away.
Right.
The psychological stuff is a lot worse.
Detectives asked Radley to close his eyes and recount the morning of the murder again, summoning as much detail as he could. He said that he woke up and pulled one of his earplugs out. Through the noise of the house alarm, he heard the sound of a gun clicking. The trigger was being pulled, but there was no ammunition left to fire.
You were in the gun business before.
Yeah.
Okay. You hear the clicking sound as you describe it.
Yeah.
To you, what is that clicking sound?
Out. Out.
On what?
No more shots in the gun, in a gun. It's a gun being dry fired or, fired empty.
Okay.
And,
when you saw your mom walking back and forth, was the gun still in her hand?
I don't know, so I'm not going to say. I don't know.
Okay.
And I know there was a lot of screaming, and I think she was screaming my name. I'm pretty sure she was saying Radley, Radley, at least a couple of times, and the other, I don't know, was like, oh,
did you come out at that point?
I came out once I'd already peeked out the other side, and then, I don't know if I put my shorts on then or what, but I came out.
It's important for us to understand and know whether or not you said something. What happened here?
She was saying, he was so awful, he was so awful. She said that twice. And I said, did he attack you? And I don't know if it was there, if we were in the car, and I was like, did he attack you? And I'm pretty sure that all she kept saying was that he was so awful.
The interview ended with Radley denying any involvement in his father's killing and insisting that whatever had happened, his mother was not to blame.
Before, we go, you said you gotta go to the bathroom, but I just want to ask you, did you shoot your father? Or were you involved in any way?
Absolutely not. I did not shoot my father. I was not involved in any other way, or in any way. I was woken up to gunfire, polygraph, whatever. I mean, I think you guys know, but you still gotta ask.
What did you think?
I thought
Seeing what was there,
maybe
listening to what you said, what you're telling us you heard.
Maybe he snapped. Maybe she snapped. But that, and this is going to sound absolutely stupid, but it was going to sound beyond stupid, but cliche too, but whatever happened and whatever had been happening, she was the victim. And my dad's laying in the goddamn morgue, and I'm telling you that.
Donna had never given a formal statement to police. but investigators believed her diary revealed her state of mind and possible motive. The entries showed the emotional decline that Radley had described. In March 2011, after agreeing to loan Lanny $200,000 as part of their reconciliation, she wrote that they loved each other and she wanted to help him. But by July, she believed Lanny was having an affair with Francine Tai, despite his denials. She noted late-night texts from Fran and Lanny leaving with her for hours. In August and early September, Donna wrote about feeling heartbroken and manipulated, complaining that Lanny insulted her and pretended he wasn't always with Fran. Her affectionate nickname, Lambo, shifted to Mr. Meanie. The final entry on September 5th described another day of lies after Lanny left to see Francine. Donna Horwitz was later arrested, charged with murdering her ex-husband, and pleaded not guilty before heading to trial in 2013. The prosecution argued that on the morning of September 30th, Donna saw Lanny's suitcases packed for his trip with Francine and snapped. She allegedly fired 10 shots at her ex-husband using 2 handguns, 9 of which struck him.
What you have here is a woman scorned. Love, hate, and obsession. It wasn't about money. It was about, you want to know what? You are not going to North Carolina. You are not going anywhere. And if I can't have you, no one else can. 10 times on a naked man when he's in the shower. The last one in the mouth is the shot of an angry, angry woman.
We don't really know exactly what happened here. You know, at the end of this trial, you may have more questions than answers. And that's the reasonable doubt. You may never know what happened.
The defense argued that it wasn't Donna who snapped that morning, but her son, Radley Horwitz. They claimed he was the real killer. To support this theory, they pointed to several factors they believed showed Radley had staged the murder. The first was the downward trajectory of the gunshots, which they argued indicated that someone taller than Donna must have been the shooter.
The gun would have to be very close to the top of her forehead. Absolutely, scientifically impossible that Donna Horwitz was the shooter here.
One major problem with accusing Radley of the murder was his GSR test. Unlike Donna, who refused to cooperate, Radley consented to the test that morning. His hands were swabbed for gunshot residue, and the results came back negative. Because of this, the defense claimed Radley hadn't fired the guns himself, but had arranged for a hitman. They pointed to a bloody fingerprint smudge on the gate containing Lanny's DNA and that of an unknown individual, suggesting the hitman left it while fleeing. However, they never explained how an unknown intruder could have entered the home without triggering the alarm, which only went off after the shots were fired. When Radley took the stand, he recounted his version of events, including the disturbing moment he looked in and saw his father taking his final breaths on the bathroom floor.
Screaming my name, and she might have said, like, your father, or something like that. He made this god-awful, inhuman gurgling sound.
Did that frighten you?
Yes, yeah.
During cross-examination, Radley was confronted with his own potential motives. He had long blamed Lanny for his earlier weapons conviction, believing it was his father's advice that led him to make the illegal online purchase that put him in the ATF's sights. He felt that conviction had derailed his life, and he held his father responsible. There was also a financial motive. Radley admitted Lanny had tricked him into signing away his rights to a $200,000 life insurance policy, money that was later designated for Francine. Even so, Radley still stood to inherit a substantial amount upon his father's death. At least $500,000, 2 homes, and luxury cars.
And you probably got around $500,000 out of this?
Ballpark, yes, maybe even a little bit more.
The defense then questioned him about a book he had purchased in 2004 titled Hitman. When asked if it could be described as a manual on how to kill someone and get away with it, Radley responded, as opposed to killing somebody and getting caught, yes.
Did you hire anyone to kill your father?
Absolutely not.
And did you, yourself, kill your dad?
Absolutely not.
That's all I have, thank you.
The defense argued that if Donna had fired the shots, she would have been covered in blood. Her pajamas were eventually collected and processed, but not on the morning of the murder, a critical oversight by law enforcement. None of the officers noted blood on her at the scene. Radley recalled seeing blood on his mother's foot outside the house and gave her a napkin to wipe it off. The prosecution, however, did not need blood to place Donna inside the bathroom with Lanny when the shots were fired. Another clue came from her hearing loss. When asked by a detective if she needed water, Donna pointed to her ears, indicating she could not hear. She also did not respond when asked if she was in the room during the shooting. It was later determined that Donna had permanently lost 48% of her hearing that day.
This is a case about jumping to conclusions. A third party murdered Lanny Horwitz, and he left a bloody smudge of his DNA on the gate as he made his getaway. Boom! The first shot goes off and hits him. He's in the shower. He's in absolute shock. Glass flies all over the place. He steps out and boom, boom, boom. He's shot 4 more times by one gun. And there's blood spatter all over. He had 500,000 reasons to have his dad dead. It's called life insurance. He was the beneficiary.
It took the jury less than 2 hours to convict the 66-year-old Donna Horwitz of first-degree murder with a firearm. They quickly dismissed the defense's claim that the bullet trajectory indicated someone taller than Donna had fired the shots. Testimony from a blood spatter analyst also convinced them that the smudge on the gate was likely transferred from gloves or equipment used by first responders, not evidence of a third person at the scene.
It's just awful. Nobody should have to go that way. No matter what. Even the mafia doesn't kill like that. So it's unbelievable that she could do something.
And I'd like her to remember every single day that the prima donna lifestyle ended when she put the gun in his mouth.
I guess she prefers the police wagon to her white Mercedes.
Donna's legal team quickly appealed her conviction, arguing that prosecutors had unfairly used her silence at the scene as evidence of guilt, even though she could not hear questions being asked. The appeals court agreed, and in 2017, she was granted a new trial. The defense maintained their theory that Radley Horwitz, or a hitman he hired, was the real killer. During deliberations, the jury initially deadlocked 6-6. After an overnight break, they returned the next morning with a unanimous verdict, finding Donna Horwitz guilty of second-degree murder.
I don't really believe I caved in. I feel that at the very end, I was convinced that it had to be her. Would I have liked to have seen more evidence? Yes. But my conscience and my gut said it had to be her. The biggest problem was that there were only 2 people in the house. She was arrested and the son wasn't. I had a lot of questions that were unanswered. I would like to have seen more evidence, more blood on her, something that said she did it directly, but there wasn't enough reasonable doubt, and common sense in the end is what finally swayed me, and I was the last holdout. I don't think she should have a life sentence. But again, she's probably going to unfortunately die in prison unless they get an appeal and win.
Following the conviction, the state requested a life sentence, arguing that Donna showed no remorse and continued to blame her son for the murder. At age 70, she was sentenced to 32 years in prison.
They used the same defense a second time. Didn't work the first time, and didn't work the second time. You know, I think I've been kicked around enough at this point, honestly, so just looking to move on with my life, and I think the physical evidence has spoken. 2 separate juries have spoken. You know, I still can't help but feel a little bad for my mom, but as I said the last time, I mean, it's pretty much the only family that's left.
Radley Horwitz moved to the United States for a fresh start. He says he harbors less hatred toward his father than he once did and holds no anger toward his mother. Thanks for watching. If you found this case as chilling as we did, make sure to subscribe to The Vanishing Record for more true crime stories. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next investigation. We'll see you in the next video.